Now let's study the third inversion in more detail. Third inversion, or 4/2 position. Third inversion looks like this. We will still use C major's dominant 7th chord just to keep everything uniform for the time being. However, the inversions will look basically the same in staff notation for all types of 7th chords as we learned them in lessons 1 and 2 of this module, as I mentioned earlier. Taking the root G and moving it to the top, or just somewhere above the new bass note B, and doing the same to the B and the D, leaving F on the bottom, the resulting intervals above that new bass note will be a 6th FD, a 4th FB, and a 2nd FG. It's usually abbreviated to 4/2, but in European-based books and programs, you might see it abbreviated as simply 2, which is enough to distinguish it from other inversions because it's the only 7th chord inversion with a 2nd above the bass. Generally, 4/2 chords of any quality like to resolve or move to a point of musical rest by bringing the bass note down by step and then the chord's third, here the thing that's a 4th above the bass, or the B, up by step into the next chord. The resulting chord is in first inversion, usually, and more restful than the crunchy 4/2 chord, even if it's not as stable as a root position triad. The 4/2 chord is the most unstable 7th chord inversion due to that crunchy 2nd off the bass, and the bass being a note that is itself dissonant within the 7th chord. The top of the crunch is the root rule still works for this inversion, provided the 4/2 chord is in closed position. The notes are as close together as you can possibly arrange them. You can always rewrite a spread out 7th chord into closed position to help yourself ID the inversion during any analysis. Here, the G is the top of the crunch and the root